Hi guys, I'm Tweaky and welcome back for another speed build, or I guess just welcome if you didn't watch my rather awkward first attempt, and if you did, thank you so much for coming back for another one because it was really awkward. So today I'm just making a redo of one of the homes that I had put on the gallery that I called Shipping Container Chic, and I guess this is Shipping Container Chic 2.0. Because with the sale going on, I ended up getting some more packs, and I got this paneling that you can see me putting on right now that looks almost just like the paneling on the sides of a shipping container. I wish it came in brighter colors, but it didn't, but I guess that kind of works too because you would end up getting an older one. But we have the new paneling coming out in the Island Living, and that's pretty brightly colored, so I might have to do Shipping Container Chic 3.0. If you hear any weird sounds in the background, I have 2 cats and 2 dogs, and they're not happy about me talking to myself, so don't be alarmed. Here I'm putting the roof on. I thought about just leaving the roof flat and putting on the metal sheeting roofing option, but I figured if you were in the desert and you were living in a metal box, you would want to block the sun from the top so that it doesn't turn into an oven. So I just went with the little roof on top anyway. At this point, I did not realize that for some reason my game always defaults to the medium walls when I start building a house, and I often forget to size it down, so I did that off screen. Because why would you want to watch that? And here I am painting the inside. I wanted it to be bright on the inside because I left the metal sheeting coloring on the outer walls, so I wanted the inner walls to be bright and colorful, so it wasn't so driving. And I like that juxtaposition of brightness and more of a drab coloring. So I went with purple and yellow because those were the brightest colors I could think of. It took me a long time to figure out which paneling to put on the side there. That was just a little bit of it. Trust me, I did it over and over again. I tend to have a little trouble making decisions when I'm given so many options. But I finally did. I was really fast with the flooring though, so that was fun. Here I'm putting in some windows. I do end up changing these because it's so boxy, and I put the rounded top windows and it just didn't seem, it kind of softened it a little bit, and I liked it better with the sharpness of it. So I changed those out later. Now I'm doing some yardscaping with the rocks, which, you know, you're in the desert, you're not going to have a ton of plants around, but you're going to have a little bit. And speaking of not having a ton of plants around, this is to add some more in. Now those bricks are a debug item, and yes, you have to click them and drag them one at a time, and yes, you have to place them one at a time. You can't shift them. So yes, it took me a very long time to do that, and but I think it was worth it. It looks really nice. So this is their answer to a flower garden. We got that big aloe plant is in the debug menu also. There's so many cool things in the debug menu. You can find all kinds of things to fill in those empty spaces that you want to. You don't want to be so empty so that it looks a bit more lived in, a little more realistic. So here I'm putting the darker shade around the edges so that it gives it more definition and a little bit more depth. You don't have to do that, obviously. They don't do it a lot of times in the builds that are pre-made in the game, but I like to do it. And here I am changing out those windows, like I said, because I wanted the squarer ones, and I changed them to black so that it would they'd all be uniform, because it's, you know, I know we're getting more swatches, which will be fantastic, but we don't have them yet, so black at least is an option that matches with all of them, or at least everything that has black as an option. Here I'm putting a couple more plants because these people want to bring some green into all this sand. I love this planter because of that exact reason, because you can press it into the wall and make it look like it's each individual little shelves, which I like. I wanted to make it as colorful as possible, like I said, because it's so drab, so I switched out the red chairs, or the white chairs for red chairs. And now I'm just trying to figure out what kind of lighting to put outside. And now I'm just trying to figure out what kind of lighting to put outside, because I didn't just want to put like a door lamp. door lamp. A porch light. A porch light. I didn't want to put just a porch light, so eventually I ended up using these, this divider, which looks really great. I like the way it looked. And it gives off, you know, pretty decent amount of light. I put some candles in here, and I resized these, but I had to get rid of them because when you resize the candles, the flame stays in the same place, so it looks a little bit off. So I don't like that. Now I'm moving on to their little personal garden that they have in the back. I wanted to have a lot of bright flowers, which there's so many bright flowers in the game. I really wanted the hollyhocks, but I did not have cats and dogs at this point yet. Or not cats and dogs, but romantic garden, right? Yeah, romantic garden stuff. I didn't have that yet, so I had to make do with little bushes that I had, but I think it looks nice. I wanted a lounge chair, but obviously we don't have those yet, so that's another thing I'm looking forward to with the Island Living base game, with the Island Living expansion. In here, I'm putting lights under the plants because I really love it when the garden is lit up from underneath. It just looks so nice. Now we're going back around to, what are we doing? No, it's a bunch of stuff that didn't need to be done. I probably should have cut that out. So putting in the flooring, again, many options, so I just tried over and over again to pick one and eventually settled on that. I have the same problem with lighting. Actually, I think lights are probably the hardest thing for me to pick because you see all these lamps and you're like, oh, this is great, and I would want to use that and this, but when you actually go to put it in a room, for some reason, I feel like none of them ever fit. It's like having a closet full of clothes and then being like, I have nothing to wear. Which, you know, everybody's been there, at least at some point in their life. Now I wanted some bright cabinets, so of course I had to go with this particular that cabinet design because that's the one with all the bright colors, which is nice, but I wish they all had the brighter colors. But hopefully we'll get more when we get the new swatches that they're going to give us. And I picked yellow because, you know, I mean, I know they're in the desert and there's a lot of yellow and sun around, but it is a very bright, you know, kind of happy color. Plus, it's my favorite color, so I figured, why not? I'm building this house. I didn't use a brightly colored stove or refrigerator. I don't generally. I just use the white or the stainless steel color because I just like the way that looks better. The colored ones are kind of, they just look a little bit off to me. They always have. For some reason, I thought that I could use one of the other sinks and that they would clip through the cabinet and still be usable, but obviously that's not the case. So I just went with a regular sink. I'm putting in a kitchen table. I prefer to have an eat-in kitchen whenever I can. I mean, I can always do it because I'm the one who builds it, but whenever the build calls for it, I like the eat-in kitchen because I don't really like dining rooms. I think there are a lot of empty space and a little bit too formal for me. I moved this rug around a couple of times and finally ended up settling it in front of the fridge because having it under the table, you couldn't see the design. And you know, it's bright and it kind of reminds me of the sun, and it goes with the yellow and the fact that they're in the desert. Usually in most of my builds, if not all of my builds, I put up a cork board because I've always had one in my real life, and they're just such a great way to leave reminders for yourself or leave reminders for others, leave notes. It was when I was trying to pick out a rug for the door that I realized that there's not really a bright yellow rug that matches that I liked to go with the kitchen. So I decided to go with the blue, and then I switched up the rest of the kitchen so that the blue would be mixed in, and I think I like it better because I like the yellow, but I think the two different colors together, the contrast is really nice. And I changed out the kitchen chairs because they had the brighter, almost aqua blue color that I was going for. And now I'm just going back and filling in some of the little odds and ends of the kitchen that I didn't fill in before. I changed out this chalkboard for a different one, and I know there's already a cork board, but why not have a chalkboard too? I mean, I have a chalkboard. I've never actually used it, but I have one. I keep meaning to use it. I've got the markers and everything. The chalk markers, not just regular markers, otherwise it wouldn't make any sense. I've never used this swatch for the bread box before. I normally only use the white, but I think it's really cute. So here I am, like I said, filling in some odds and ends for the kitchen, the shoe rack, and, you know, keys. And we're moving on to the cluttery portion of the kitchen. You can hear my cat in the background maybe. She won't stop talking to me, and I've given up trying to wait her out because she's far more stubborn than I am. I love the debug menu. It's so great. It has so many things just to fill in all the empty spaces that wouldn't be there in real life. There would be something else in that spot, usually, unless you have like one of those really, really neat houses that are like shown on HGTV where everything's cleaned up for the cameras. But I don't live in a house like that. And I realized that I have coffee on the counter, but I don't have a coffee maker. So, because I personally don't drink coffee, but the coffee is in the debug menu, so I picked it because it's something that people have on the counter, but I don't know. I also put that knife on the counter, and I know that's not exactly the safest thing just to leave the knife out like that, but it only has one bedroom, so I figured there weren't any kids running around gonna poke themselves in the eye or anything with that. That would be bad. And I put a couple of cans of juice up on top of the refrigerator because it just seemed like an empty space, and why not? Now we're moving into the living room. I went through a lot of different rugs trying to pick one that I thought went well with the purple, but I cut that out for you. But it's kind of, I went with a purple and blue theme, like it looks like a sunset, like maybe it's evening, which really contrasts great with the kitchen, which is more of a daytime kind of thing. So we have day and night, which I thought was nice. I love those little ottomans. I was so happy when I finally got, what was it, cats and dogs, and I got the little poofs. They're so great. They're so cute. I love them. Also, if you watched my last video, you may have heard me say that I love this TV. I just like the way I like the shape of it, and when you size it up, it looks just like one of the bigger TVs, but it's cheaper. So I use that one a lot. And here I'm having trouble picking out a light, of course. I'm putting in this glass coffee table. If you've ever had a glass coffee table, you know that they look really cool, like in a game or in a movie on TV or whatever. But if you've ever had one in real life, you know that they get fingerprints on them and weird smudges, and you have to like clean them every day. And they're heavy. It's just like a big hassle. And here I'm putting up some more shelves because of course I am. But like I said, I cut out the tedious part so that you just see the finished product. And most of the stuff on here is from the debug menu, and a lot of it doesn't actually go on shelves, so you have to, raise it up and hope that the shelf is at the right level where it won't hover over it. Finally got the magazine. I wish that they would have more covers because I would love to have just magazines all over the house, or even a newspaper. That would be great too. I really like these paintings because they're so bold and bright, even the ones that don't have like 1,000 different colors. They're just really bold and sharp, and I like that. We're moving on to the bathroom now. It took me a little while to figure out the tiles. The bathroom is the hardest part of any build for me. I'm not sure why, but it seems so hard to find floors and walls that match. 'Cause, you want to use tiles in the bathroom, but not all the tiles match a wall, and so eventually I go through different, 100 different iterations and just end up with something that kind of looks like it kind of matches, it kind of contrasts nice. Like this blue with the white marble. So I just, have to hope that it's okay, because otherwise I would never get it done. And the bathroom is big enough here that I probably eventually could have figured out a way to put in all of the pieces and have them still work and be functional, but I decided it was just easier to put in the stacked washer dryer instead of the side by side. And I decided that the bathroom was kind of more of a utility room also, because the house is small. It's not, it's not tiny, but it's not big either, and the bathroom seemed like the most logical space to take over that function. So, we put the cleaning supplies in here, the washer and dryer. I know people have washers and dryers in their bathrooms. I never have, but that's just me. A lot of people have it. So I couldn't think of any art that I wanted to put on the walls in this one, so I just went with shelving instead. So you can see there's the white shelf that you can put all of the bathroom stuff on, the towels and the shampoo. And I know it's a weird thing to wish for, given all the different things that could really go really great in the game, like spiral staircases, but I'd really like a bar of soap. I don't know why. You see, on the debug menu, just somewhere, I'd like a bar of soap to put in the game. We have a clear, you know, glass bathroom door, which seems a bit, you know, like questionable, but like you can see I'm putting up the curtain. I had a little trouble finagling it into place, but I eventually, you know, got it somewhere where it's reasonable. Back out into the living room so I can put up, you guessed it, some more shelves with some more stuff on them. Because the wall was empty and I couldn't think of another picture that I wanted to be up there, but shelving is always great as far as I'm concerned. And I put in some grass because these people, of course, want to bring in as much greenery as they can. We're going up into the bedroom now, and I really like those panels, especially when you size them up. They just, I like the effect that they have on the wall, like a 3D wallpaper almost. Then there's the bubble wall, which I've never used before, so I put it into this build. As you can see, there's not a lot of space on either side of the bed. I was hoping that it would work when I play tested it, but it didn't, so I ended up having to push it against one wall, which means when you have, you know, more than one sim in it, they're gonna have to scoot over, which they can do now, so it's not really a big deal. And this bedroom doubles as an office space, so we're putting in a desk with some plants, of course. I have no idea what the Sims in this house would do for work, what their profession would end up being, but I feel like everybody needs an office. So I put like an office area in all my houses. Not just a computer area, but specifically like an office. Now I'm putting in an actual bookshelf. I think this one is probably my favorite one of the bookshelves. It's just, it's so like interesting to look at. It is incredibly tedious to put the actual items on it though, just because of all the different nooks and crannies, and they're all on different levels and none of them match up. It takes a while and it's a lot of back and forth. But it's worth it in the end. I think it looks great. Dressers are so much easier. It took me about 15 seconds to do that. This meditation stool, I guess, it's up against the wall, but it works. Like I said, I play tested the whole house and everything works. If you want to download this or any of my other builds, you can find them on the gallery under Tweaky, just like it's spelled here. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.